So we're at 17 days. We're at 17 days. For those of you saying that I'm gonna go off on the time, you don't need to worry about it. I'm going to space out certain days, especially during the weekends, so that by the time we hit Monday morning, like Monday around 1, maybe 2 a.m., I'll be posting up the next video that will be for one day. So you don't have to worry about that. We're going to get there. 17 days. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to talk about child soldiers today, which is an ongoing theme or motif in the Metal Gear Solid games. And I wanted to do this via canon. So we're going to be here for a while, but I have something that I think a lot of players overlook, and I hope we can open up this discussion and see what everybody thinks about it. Um, as far as Metal Gear Solid 3 is concerned, because like I said, I'm going to be going via the timeline, so it's going to be, canon. So Metal Gear Solid 3 has child soldiers in Eva, who states that she was picked up by the philosophers at a young age. Sorry about that. And then they took her to her charm school or something, and that's where she learned all about war and how to be a spy, how to be a double agent, triple agent, and all the stuff that she was doing. And obviously, for those of you that haven't played MGS3, spoilers. I don't know why you're watching this, but Eva was a triple agent working for China, I believe, and the philosophers. And also that game discusses the boss who had a child during World War II, and her child was Ocelot, according to a lot of fan rumors and speculation. And I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that her child was Ocelot, who is also in the game. And in the game is also the character of Snake is a child during the Metal Gear Solid 3 ordeal, during Operation Snake Eater, if you will. Um, and this is evident because the boss even says he has not found an emotion to carry into battle. He is still a child. So even the boss sees Naked Snake, that was his name at the time, Big Boss, as a child during the events that took place there. So then you fast forward to Peace Walker, and both Chico and Paz are child soldiers in that game. Both of those characters are child soldiers. Chico is roughly 12 or 13. He's very young, and he was leading the revolution. He was part of the revolution. He wasn't leading. His sister Amanda was leading the revolution in Costa Rica, I believe. And Paz was 16 at the time. We later find out that that character's age was a lie. That she lied because she had actually been sent by the Zero, who used to work for the CIA, but I think he's gone rogue now. I'm not sure where he lies as far as his alliance is concerned. But we know that Paz was sent by Zero, so she was also a child soldier, because there's no way she would have been sent by Zero unless the Patriots had been training her for a long time and had confidence in her skill as a spy. And that also brings up that the Patriots are already in control and are following in the same line of what the philosophers used to do in having child soldiers and using them for war. Obviously, this is a part that I think a lot of fans gloss over because of their love of Big Boss. But he has two child soldiers in Peace Walker, and he has them in his base, and he uses them, and he lets Chico, who's about 12, maybe younger, hold an M60. He's not a good character. He's not a good guy, and I know that a lot of fans want to paint him as such, but he's not. Like, even in Peace Walker, which we've already played, that he's a child. He's a child. He should not be in war. That was wrong of Big Boss, and that was very wrong. And the Phantom Pain, Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 are going to be skipped because I don't want to ruin anything for the Phantom Pain, which is coming out soon. Can't wait to see what happens that in that. And Ground Zeroes, I almost skipped Ground Zeroes. Obviously, in Ground Zeroes, the characters of Chico and Paz are kidnapped, and it becomes Big Boss's job to go rescue them. And unfortunately, at the end of Ground Zeroes, Paz passes away, and we are unsure if Chico passes away as well. Um, so that's where Ground Zeroes stops, and the Phantom Pain will be continuing the story from there. And then after the Phantom Pain was Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2, which everybody knows the story for already, but I'm not going to spoil it because that would spoil the Phantom Pain. Instead, I'm going to skip ahead excuse me, excuse me, and talk about Metal Gear Solid 1. Now, Metal Gear Solid 1, and this is where it gets like complicated. If you thought it was complicated earlier, this is where shit hits the fan. Um, you have the clones of Big Boss. You have his two children, Solid Snake and Liquid Snake, and both of them are child soldiers who were born into the war zone. Both of them, since they are clones, were made for the full intention of war and have been in war since they were young. Also in that game, pretty much every villain that you fight was a child soldier. Sniper Wolf, her character was a child soldier. She she states that she lived her whole life behind the rifle. Psycho Mantis states that he was always a child soldier as well. He states that he had to kill his father and his mother because of the thoughts that he heard or something like that. Because like he could read minds and he was just all sorts of messed up. But he was also a child soldier. So, and obviously Ocelot's also in that game, who was also a child soldier. And I'd be willing to guess that the characters of Decoy Octopus and the characters of Vulcan Raven were also child soldiers, but I can't remember their stories off the top of my head. And then after that we get Metal Gear Solid 2, and obviously Solid Snake is still in that, and he was a child soldier. And we finally get the story of Raiden, and Raiden was a child soldier during the wars in Africa in the 80s. The thing is that he doesn't remember any of it because his memory was wiped clean or whatever. And but supposedly he was so good at war as a child that he would kill hundreds in days. Like he would kill 100 soldiers in a day, and they nicknamed him Jack the Ripper. So there's the same theme of child soldiers and the same idea of every character in the game being a child soldier. And then we get to Metal Gear Solid 4, and this is what I wanted to talk about because I think that this is looked over and glossed upon by pretty much everybody. But obviously the BMB cores are all child soldiers. Every one of the Beauty and the Beast core that you fight has a horrible story that begins with them being in a war zone as children and having to escape that war zone. But once they were able to escape being in a prison camp or in a refugee camp, they were picked up by the Patriots and turned into super soldiers because of that traumatization that they faced. But I think the important thing to take away from Metal Gear Solid 4, there's two things. First, which is something nobody seems to mention, and I think we need to, in order to have the discussion of the main characters, which are the Snakes and Big Boss. Solid Snake and Otacon have Sunny hostage, which is something nobody likes to admit. But like, if you think about Metal Gear Solid 2, the character of Solid Snake kills Sunny's mom. Like that's something that happens. Like he shoots her. Like, I mean, you could trank her, you could put her to sleep, but the boat sinks and she's asleep on the boat. So whether Snake wanted to or not, he killed Sonny's mom. You know what I mean? And then when you get into MGS4, Sonny is on the Nomad with Snake and Otacon, and all she does every single day is sit behind the computer and hack CIA and KGB files. Like she's a child soldier, and nobody wants to discuss it, and nobody ever mentions it. But Solid Snake isn't necessarily a good guy. You know, he made the same mistakes his father did, and he also has children who work for his side of the war and work for what he thinks is just. So, you know, there's that. And also in Metal Gear Solid 4, there's that amazing speech that Eva gives, which I think everybody seems to gloss upon and can be a discussion in its own. I may do it for one of these days. But Eva gives this amazing speech about how kids nowadays are growing up playing Call of Duty and killing and shooting everything, and that they don't appreciate life for what it is, and they don't see individuality anymore, and that they find it easy to pick up guns in video games and shoot and kill. And I think that ties this entire narrative together really well, and again brings to light what Kojima's trying to say about video games and society as a whole, is that, you know, since video games are given to children, and since society as a whole seems to think that it's a toy and a medium for kids, you end up having a lot of kids that play adult games and are in a virtual sense, child soldiers. So that's just something I wanted to talk about. Um, I recommend you play MGS4. Obviously, amazing. I think it's the best in the series, and I truly love that scene where Eva just lays it all on the table for you, and is like, if you haven't understood why we have so many child soldiers in the series, here it is. And I think it was beautiful and definitely something that you would have to be mature in order to catch. You would have to be an adult in order to catch. But it's a motif and it's a theme that Kojima and company use often, and I can't wait to see how it plays out in the Phantom Pain. We're 17 days away. Let me know what you think about this discussion. As always, 17 more days. We're almost there. We're almost there. I can't wait. I can't wait to see who the new child soldiers are, or any of that stuff. I can't wait to see what this game brings. It's going to be classic. It's going to be a 10 out of 10. There's no way that it won't be. Like it's almost impossible for it to be bad at this point. I can't wait. I'm thoroughly anticipating it. As always, V for victory.